All right, we have our patch notes for Season 12 mid-season. So first of all, we're going to lead off with Overwatch 2 World of Warcraft. They say join the celebration as Overwatch and World of Warcraft unite the realms for a legendary crossover event from September 17th to the 30th. Dive into the glory with Sylvanas, Windrunner, Widowmaker, Lich King Reinhardt, Thrall Zenyatta, and Diamond Magni Torb legendary skins. Complete the with iconic voice lines, emotes, and play of the games inspired by WoW. Ooh, okay, there's a lot there. Play now to unlock up to 8 free rewards and experience the magic. Okay, so 8 free rewards. What they're going to be, I don't know. Next up, general updates. Roll Queue Mystery Heroes. Huh? Roll Queue Mystery Heroes is now a new variation of the popular Mystery Hero game mode, but using the Roll Queue rules. Once you select your role, your heroes played will be randomly selected among the heroes in that role and will not change throughout the match. Wait a second, that's awesome. I mean, I have Mystery Heroes Tuesday, so you sold me on this. So Roll Queue Mystery Heroes added to the unranked menu. Open Queue Mystery Hero. Wait a second. So this is completely different now. So they got rid of so it's Roll Queue Mystery Heroes now. They got rid of Open Queue. So technically, I mean, the challenge will be easier maybe? But basically, yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it'll be fun. Oh, come on. We'll see though. We'll figure out a way to spice it up. Deathmatch is moved from unranked menu to the arcade menu and will appear in a daily rotation with the other deathmatch modes. So there you go. Competitive updates, competitive drives. Wait, are they starting drives now or is that later on? Competitive drives are limited time events that take place near the end of seasons in competitive play roll queue. As you complete a drive, you'll earn bonus competitive points and a new reward called signatures. Signatures are a cosmetic reward that appears on your name in most locations where your name is displayed, including your name card, play of the game highlights, scoreboard, and hero select. Signatures are upgraded as you reach checkpoints in a drive. By the way, if you haven't seen the drive stuff, it looks really cool. They showed it in the initial, a blog post, right before the season started. It's really cool looking. I'm actually excited for these. When you win a match, you'll earn drive score and progress towards the next checkpoint. Losing subtracts drive score, but generally less than winning. And checkpoints prevent you from losing score once you reach them. There are 6 checkpoints, and they grant the following rewards in order of completion. 500 competitive points, a signature. 1,000 competitive points, advanced signature. 500 competitive points, and elite signature. So you're not only are you going to get the signatures, you're going to get 2,000 competitive points if you complete drives. I'm going to be honest with you. One of the number one issues Overwatch has ran into is that end of the season games get pretty bad because people usually just kind of wait it out. This definitely incentivizes having players play more towards the end, and you get rewarded for it, right? You get the signatures that look really cool, and you get 2,000 competitive points. I mean, that to me, especially the 2,000 competitive points, is a huge incentive because a lot of players I've always talked about how I wish there was a bit more ways for players to be able to obtain a weapon in game. It's not even a player who doesn't want to play a bunch of ranked. This might enable them to play a little bit to be able to get more progress. So your progression on a drive is shared across all roles in roll queue. You do not earn progression towards your drive in open queue. When you complete drives, your signature will be upgraded to show off how many drives you completed in total. Signatures are removed after a rank reset. So they say a rank reset. So I imagine that would mean whenever your next major rank reset is. Okay, now on to the hero updates. First of all those changes up here, pretty sweet. Mystery Heroes, I'm excited to try out. Competitive drives. Are drives live now, Gavin, or are they going to be later on? All right, hero updates. Armor flat damage reduction reduced from 10 to 7 per impact. When are the drives going to be starting, Gavin? Are they starting now, or do they start in a little bit? Near the end of the season? Okay, that's what I was wondering on. Because it doesn't tell you the exact date. It just puts it in the update, but it isn't okay, I was wondering. Okay, so the recent increase to armor's effectiveness improved the survivability of armored heroes more than we'd like for how passive it is. So we're tuning it down to a middle ground value. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this change will probably be good for the overall health of Overwatch. I don't know how it's going to impact tanks. As long as tanks can still tank and not be like Season 9, I am fine with it. Straight up. I don't know how it works. I mean, maybe Cactus Puppy might have a chart that shows you the damage difference now, because I don't understand a lot of what the damage reduction part will be here. I don't know what it was at before. So, I literally say that, and Cactus has a spreadsheet. I'll take a look at it when I can. There you go. Perfect. So Cactus has a link in the chat there if you want to see a spreadsheet with all the details. All right, so there you go. Okay. Tank roll passive. Knockback resistance reduced from 40 to 25%. I don't know how I feel about this because this once again goes like, it'll be interesting. As a tank player, you're not going to like it. As everybody else, you're going to love it. Is that a good way to put it? This knockback resistance value has changed a few times as the environment of the game shifts. With Juno entering the roster and bringing more sources of speed boost to help rush down the enemy team, we'd like to make tanks more susceptible to displacement again. This part is understandable. The only reason why this is going to feel worse is because the tanks usually take the brunt of like, the tanks usually take the majority of all this boops, right? Like it's always the tank. So it felt better at 40% for tank players because you could at least move forward. Now it's going to be, I don't know how much of a difference it will be with 15%, but it probably will be pretty apparent. So we'll see. Once again, these changes here, I'm not going to overreact to them. I'm going to look at them, see how they feel, and then give you a more like distinct way to go about it, right? Like I'll be like, okay, this is how I feel about it because I don't really know. Do you have a TLDR cactus on that of like what the overall impact would be? Like how much damage would D.Va take now from 10 to 7 from comparison to before? Okay. On to the D.Va changes. All right. D.Va. Mech armor health reduced from 375 to 325. Mech base health increased from 200 to 225. Okay, so they got rid of armor. They got rid of some of the armor. And then put it elsewhere. That's basically what happened, right? They reduced armor by 50, and then they put the buff up to, or the HP back up. So D.Va lost 25 HP and less armor, with the armor nerf to go with it. So she loses 25 HP plus the armor reduction, so you take more damage. I'll talk about the D.Va changes here in a second, because people are talking about let me explain something in a second here. There's been a lot of community feedback surrounding D.Va lately. On average, she hasn't been overperforming, but she's quite difficult to take down. So we're shifting some of her armor to normal health and reducing her max combined health by 25 armor. With armor's effectiveness being hit in the same patch, we'll keep an eye on how this plays out and adjust as necessary. So it sounds like here's what's happening. So the problem is that because they did the armor nerfs up here, and then they have the D.Va stuff here, it doesn't quite show the impact of what this change right here will have for like the overall change of D.Va here. So while people are talking about the burst damage, what they're trying to do in Overwatch is change from Tank Buster. They want to get away from you shoot tank. And if you take away the damage from D.Va, then D.Va's not going to be incentivized to like go into the backline anymore, or at least try to. So what they're doing now is they're decreasing the survivability of D.Va by quite a bit. So that way when D.Va does dive to your backline now, there's a chance D.Va will get killed, right? So they're going more of like, yeah, you talked about glass cannon, like how I said, like for example, you said glass cannon. I said how like you don't want to buff Zenyatta because Zenyatta's in like this spot where like Zen's in a good spot, and when you buff a glass cannon, it can cause issues, right? And that's what they're doing with D.Va now, is they're making D.Va have a little bit less HP and then a little bit more damage taken. So when you go to the back line, like you're going to take more damage. That's why they went that route. If they reduce the damage here also, D.Va would become unplayable. For some people, people would like that, right? And others, people wouldn't. But they don't want to put D.Va back to being just like useless. And that's what they're basically trying to do there. So will D.Va still be pretty good? Yes. How will it feel? I don't know. I cannot, until I go and play it and try D.Va out in this current meta, I cannot tell you. All right, on to Orisa. It isn't a buff without a micro buff for Orisa, right? Movement speed penalty reduced from 20 to 10%. I mean, if we don't get a micro buff patch for Orisa, I don't know what else we're doing. I'd be concerned. We still don't want Orisa to easily chase down enemies while fortified, since there's not much you can do to fight back during that time. Why do I see a Roadhog here? It better be a Roadhog nerf. I know Roadhog needs love, but... So while we're not removing the movement speed penalty entirely, we are lowering it to a point where it will feel much better for Orisa to use. Wonderful. Wonderful. For our... if I got patch notes in time, I should have put a meme here that just showed like 100 micro buffs to Orisa, right? It just feels like it's a meme at this point in a fun way. It's like the new nerfed Genji. Roadhog, resource regeneration rate increased from 8 to 10 per second. This is a reversion to Roadhog's previous resource regeneration rate to improve his primary tank and abilities uptime. There were several adjustments to reduce the power of this ability, but they may not have been necessary as Roadhog has been underperforming for some time now. Some heroes are okay in that spot. Resource regeneration rate increased from 8 to 10. It's fine. I don't mind it. Yeah, like I said, I don't have any like aggressive feelings towards this change. I think it's fine. A little bit more survivability, you know. Still can go Orisa if you need to, Amaga. Sigma. Okay. Sigma. Hypersphere's impact damage reduced from 25 to 15. Wait. Explosion damage increased from 30 to 40 and no longer deals damage to self. So they're making it... Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you, chat. You know what this means? They're making it so that you don't have to direct impact as much anymore. If you, like your explosion damage is going to do a lot more. So basically, if you miss more, like you want to hit, obviously, because of impact damage plus explosion, but you're basically doing more miss damage, if I'm understanding this correctly, right? If you miss the explosion damage, like the AoE, like let me see what, let me read this so I can understand it. And then no longer self-damage, which you actually might lose a couple things with that, but this shift in damage from the hypersphere's direct impact into the explosion component is to improve the effectiveness of the airburst explosion. Yeah, so when playing at max range and makes it more threatening against tightly grouped enemies. So basically it's gonna do more like AoE damage and like if you miss and like it does the, yeah, so that's what it is. That's what that does. So honestly, chat, I'm not gonna say, okay, so it's basically, it's not a buff, but it certainly will make it easier for players who aren't deadly accurate with the left click. And I'll be honest with you, at times, if my left click's off, I like having this option now. It means my aim doesn't have to be perfect on Sigma. All right, so that's the tank changes. I mean, D.Va got the changes. People wanted D.Va changes. People wanted armor changes. They got both. D.Va got a shift. I'm sure people will complain about this on Twitter or something about like the health stuff and all that. I do think it's, let it see how it plays out, and then hopefully they can make the changes really quick if it feels like D.Va's still too strong. But I don't know how to react to it yet until I see the impact of the less armor and where this puts D.Va. Okay? All right, damage. Bastion. Configuration assault spread reduced from 2.2 to 2 degrees. I know what that means. It's 2 degrees difference now from 2.2 degrees. It's no big deal. I have a protractor on my desk. Yep, that's about right. 2 degrees now. And the ultimate cost reduced by 12%. Just a buff. Overall buff. Oh, you said the pen ultimate drive reward is 1,500 competitive points. So the total you would get for the drives is actually 3,000 competitive points. Okay, thank you for the update. So you get 3,000 competitive points for the drives if you complete them all. Or something like that. The spread reduction is intended to improve the assault mode. Yep. Weapons effective range against smaller targets while not changing much in regard to how good it is against tank heroes and their large size. Yeah, I mean, they always want to make... Bash is one of those heroes that it's easy to kill Bastion. Bastion can find value sometimes. It's like that. Cassidy. Flashbang. Hinder duration reduced from 1.2 to 0.9. I like that. That's good. Explosion damage increased from 45 to 75. Oh, man. I'm going to take more damage. Ultimate cost reduced by 10% by 10%. So basically now you do 75 damage. I mean, oh, man. If you're a Tracer player, good luck. Good luck. We're reducing how impactful the hinder effect is by lowering its duration, as this crowd control can be a significant source of frustration for players. I agree. Since now there is less time to follow up with shots from the weapon while the opponent is hindered, we're increasing the explosion damage of Flashbang. Do you want my hot take? You just got here, as long as you don't buff Orisa and Hog, we're okay? I mean, yeah, you have to look back at me. There's a chance. You want my hot take here? Just increase the range a little bit more. Don't have it be as long as it was before. Probably didn't have to change any of that stuff. They're trying to figure out ways to get Cassidy to play this range. You just need to increase range a little bit. I think it's the fall off that's going to make Cassidy feel fun to play or not fun to play. In my opinion, it is the range. Now, what I'm saying is don't do the previous range, but find a middle ground. And I think that will make Cassidy feel better than like stuff like this on these shifts. 75 damage is a lot. Hanzo, Storm Arrow, normal arrows are no longer affected by global projectile size increases. So that means your left click doesn't have the... Wait a second. Does that mean your left click is back to being like one of the smaller redwood trees in the redwood forest? Am I understanding that correctly? Or is that worse? Okay. But maximum damage increased from 120 to 125, and then time to fully charged increased from 0.72 to 0.87, but you get your one-shot back. Is this correct? This should give the one-shot back. This change restores Hanzo... Okay, I should have read the sentence. This change restores Hanzo's one-hit headshot kill against 250 health heroes, though it will require more accuracy with a smaller projectile size, and is now slower to charge shots to reduce the frequency of projectiles being thrown out. All right, so you got your one-shot back. A little bit more accurate, and like, I get what they're doing. After trying the recent iterations of Hanzo post-Season 9, we feel the one-shot capability is too essential to the core gameplay feel of those sniper heroes, similar to Widowmaker. Without a much larger rework, being limited to a smaller range of heroes that could be one-shot, 225 HP and below, added some texture to the hero matchup, so it wasn't a satisfying compromise for either side. So there you go. 250 HP heroes can be one-shot again by Hanzo. You get a little bit of like a slight nerf and like, you know, your accuracy, but like, let's be honest with you. I'm gonna be real with y'all, chat. When it comes to Hanzo, the projectile's already big to begin with. I wouldn't even like I wouldn't look at this and be like, oh, this is 100% terrible, etc. Like, truthfully, Hanzo has a pretty big hitbox to begin with. Venture, Explorer's Resolve, shield health gained per ability reduced from 40 to 30. As a highly mobile damage hero, Venture doesn't need quite as much shield health from their passive as they currently get to be successful. Even though they are a close-range hero, their abilities enable them to close the gap quickly and effectively without taking much damage. I think I'm fine with this. I think from 40 to 30, this is fine. Ventures were surviving too much in the backline, and it became a frustration point where you could never really get that kill if the Venture hecked up. This feels like a much better way, so we'll see. Moira, Coalescence damage per second increased from 70 to 85. Moira's ultimate didn't feel threatening enough after the health adjustments across the cast and her own lower health value. Seems fine. I'm not even mad about that. I mean, listen, if they didn't adjust the damage to go with like some of the changes they made, I get it. So it's fine. I don't know. I'm not even worried about it. I'm sure some people are gonna be like, come on. But I mean, I don't know. Lifeweaver, why do I see this hero here? Okay. 1 second. I'm gonna go up here in case I miss. Okay. Lifeweaver. The increased fire duration of Thorn Volley will give Lifeweaver more damage presence, and it lines up better with his auto-charge heal timing to help that flow nicely. So basically, your ammo is 100 now, so Lifeweaver is better than before. Now you have more maximum ammo. There you go. So it just helps with the timing. Good change. All right, Zenyatta. So now I hope this is to make the ultimate a little bit better because I don't think they need... Okay, Destruction Orb, damage increased from 48 to 50. So more damage on Zenyatta. And then Orb of Discord cooldown per target reduced from 7 to 6 seconds. So they're making Zenyatta do more damage, and then they're making Zenyatta have Discord Orb up more frequently. Okay. With the current addition of more speed boosts in the game, Zenyatta and generally more poke-oriented team compositions by extension has fallen off a bit due to how immobile and vulnerable he can be. We've tried increasing his health in the past, but it's proven problematic. So instead, we're leaning into his glass cannon nature. We're improving his damage this time, which should enable new breakpoints and how many shots are required to eliminate an enemy. We'll see how it goes. I don't like this. Like in hindsight, I don't mind the damage increase because like they talk about like keeping the glass cannon. This part is the part that I felt like 7 seconds felt good to counterplay, and as you start to reduce this, you're going to have more frequent discords, which I know it's a 1 second difference, but believe it or not, in Overwatch, that can add up. But like I said, I still feel like Zenyatta's a hero. You can kind of keep in that glass cannon where they're at, and they'll be fine. So it's a bit interesting on that one, because I feel like if the issue is that Zenyatta will struggle against the more speed boost, yeah, that's true, but I don't know if... I don't know. It's a hard one to say. I'm a tank player, so I get a little bit more biased when it comes to, like, having more uptime on Discord Orb, but we'll see. I'm not going to overreact to it. We'll see what happens. So there's your balance change. It's not a bad balance patch. I mean, like I said, I think the hot takes of the balance patch will end up, like, people will say this isn't enough, but I think combined with the armor, it could be. I'm not going to say it is, but it could be. Orisa micro buffs. This one's okay. I don't mind that. Cassidy. This one, people are going to say something about the 45 to 75. Bastion's fine. Hanzo players should like this, I imagine, because you get your one-shot back. People will like the Venture change. Moira change, people will like. Well, I mean, it's going to be 50-50 because people don't want Moiras in their game, even though I don't mind. Lifeweaver, this is good. Zenyatta. But yeah, overall, not too bad. All right, map updates. Clash is an important bug fix. I can't wait to see. I'll read it this time. Fast respawn after a point has been captured has been removed from Clash. We'll be looking to implement an alternative version of it for Clash in the future. I like that. Respawn times for defenders gets reduced by 2 seconds for each segment the attackers secure in the final capture zone. Okay, so it's going back to the long spawns without the wave respawn. Is this correct? Or the fast spawn? Or whatever they have? And then after you capture a tick, it makes it easier on the defenders again? Is this correct? So for A and E, the spawn times are now 12, 10, and 8. Okay, so I did understand that. So basically, what you're doing now is you're making it so the first tick is longer to get. So that way players feel more incentivized to at least try to grab a point. And then the trade-off is that if you do capture the point, the spawns get easier, so there still is a bit of a comeback mechanic for the team to try to prevent stomps if the team does get that tick. Is this how, am I understanding it correctly? Okay, I get what they're going for. I don't know how it will play, but I have an understanding of what it is. So just to summarize, they're trying to keep a comeback mechanic to prevent stomps. That is fine. So what this means is longer spawns at the beginning of the first tick to incentivize people to attack the point. That's the first part. They're incentivizing that. Okay? That's the first part. The second part is then as the other team captures one of the ticks, then the spawns get quicker, so that way the defenders will get that comeback mechanic, but the attackers still feel like it's worth trying to attack the point. I get it now. And then that way, if it is 12-second spawns and the other team gets wiped, it's still a bit longer of a spawn for those people on their team. I get what they're going for. I don't know how it's going to play, but I understand the idea behind it. So, okay. Flashpoint. The initial speed boost of heroes received when leave and spawn has been increased from 1 to 2 seconds. Oh, I like that. Increase maximum potential duration of the speed boost effect from 5 to 6. I mean, that's just going to make it so you're back to point quicker. I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of liked these changes to begin with on Flashpoint. So to add them to be even faster, I'm okay with that. That's kind of cool. I like that. Bug fixes. Fix an issue where players are not gaining credit when queuing for all roles and challenges and progressions. I like it. Fixed an issue where wall climbing heroes could infinitely ledge grab. Okay, I've never done that. Cassidy, they fixed an issue where Deadeye would incorrectly indicate a kill and blow on Ramatra. I feel like it's in general. Yeah, here's my take. It feels like whenever you have like a damage increase or something that increases your like skulls, it's scuffed sometimes. Diva fixed an issue with Diva's boosters movement speed stacking with speed boost abilities. There you go. They fixed the issue with Juno. So there you go, chat. On top of all the other changes to Diva, they have now changed the Juno interaction too. So the Juno interaction no longer works the way it used to. So that's probably why they went with the changes they did on Diva. So just there you go. There you go. Lifeweaver fixed an issue that would cause Lifeweaver's pedal platform to continue to rise when interacting with May's ice effects. Never seen it. And then fixed it with horizontally. Okay, so that's fine. Sigma fixed an issue with Sigma's gravitic flux percentage health damage being affected by damage reduction. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. And fix an issue with audio would remain muffled if you use a teleport. Okay, there you go. So there's your patch notes. I mean, to me, I don't mind a lot of it. Now let's see how it plays, right?